Hi guys, my name's Stu. We're down here in Shamrock Quay today to polish up this beautiful LD43. She's suffering with some gel coat oxidisation due to the UV. So the tools we'll be using today will be a flex polisher with a lambswool head rotary, using a 3M compound and polish just to keep that shine up, and then we'll be finishing her off with a nanotech speed guard to protect her from any future oxidisation. So whenever you're doing this polishing in the hulls, you need to make sure that the temperature is very cool, around 16 to 14 degrees. The reason being is because the compound needs to stay as wet as possible. If it dries out too quickly, what you'll get is the compound won't decompose the right way, and you will actually scratch the hull worse than you are polishing it. It's really important to do it in the shade, like I am here today. And that's the best way you'll get a polish. So before we start polishing this hull, you need to make sure that this is nice and clean, the surface you're going to be correcting. You need to make sure that the lambswool head is also just as clean. If this is contaminated, that will be contaminated and you'll damage the hull before you start polishing. What I normally tend to do is apply the polish in just a small circle area like that onto the surface, work it in like that. I tend to start off slow, just because if you start it off too quick, you'll end up throwing all of your compound everywhere and you won't actually hold it onto the surface of your lambswool. Once you can see that she's worked in ever so slightly, you can now increase the speed, and this will start the process of the correction. So the patterns that I've been following, I've been starting off as almost like an S shape, and then I go over a 50% overlap just to make sure I get true coverage. I normally let that dry for about 10 to 15 seconds before I repeat the process in the other direction. This will actually start the polishing stage rather than the cutting stage. Once I've finished a quick pass, I'll just wipe it down with a nice clean, dry microfiber cloth, and this will ensure to remove all existing compounds and give you the best finish you can get from the compound. So now we've finished the cutting stage, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to protect it. The reason why we protect the gel coat is because you've exposed all of the first surface of it, and that will oxidise again due to the sunlight and the UV, especially being the blue colour that it is. The product I'm going to be using today is a nanotech speed guard. What this does is this will give you the best protection against water and UV, and it's super easy to apply. What I like to do personally, I like to hold my cloth up here, I like to spray onto the hull at the same time I'm spraying the microfiber. Not too many sprays because you've just got to work this into the surface. Making sure your microfiber is either brand new or super clean before we start, because again, you'll contaminate the surface or scratch it. Just work it into the surface, like so. You keep working it into the surface until it's basically gone. And take your clean microfiber cloth after and just give it a quick rub down. Just to dry off any sort of residue existing. And that's your application done. So I hope this process has been helpful for you guys. Obviously these tools and all this equipment could be quite expensive, so if you want this process achieved on your hull, please give Willett Marine a call and we'll be happy to help. Thanks.